If you're a diehard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. The Cleveland Browns are back in the headlines, and not necessarily for the kind of news their fans were hoping for. Once again, the team finds itself in the middle of roster reshuffling, media scrutiny, and a bit of friendly fire from a familiar divisional foe. This time, the shakeup starts in the trenches as the Browns announce they've waived offensive tackle Thayer Munford. It's another move in what's been a season of adjustments, experiments, and questionable decisions from the front office. A season that's left more questions than answers about the direction of this franchise. Thayer Munford's brief stint in Cleveland is officially over. Signed off the New England Patriots practice squad back on September 24th, Munford never saw the field for the Browns. Despite dressing for practices and learning the system, he remained inactive for the last 3 games, unable to crack into the lineup. The former Raiders tackle, a 7th-round pick from the 2022 draft, has seen plenty of NFL action before, 46 career games and 18 starts. But it seems Cleveland's coaching staff never saw enough to justify giving him a shot this time around. And while his release might not make major national headlines, it fits perfectly into a bigger, more troubling story about instability and indecision in the Browns organization. The offensive line has been a sore spot for Cleveland all year long. Injuries, inconsistency, and lack of cohesion have turned what was once considered one of the league's most dependable units into a revolving door of patchwork lineups. Waiving Munford, in isolation, might look like a routine roster move, a team trying to create flexibility, maybe making room for a younger player or addressing an injury elsewhere. But when you zoom out, it's just the latest in a pattern of constant change that's preventing this offense from finding any rhythm or chemistry. Offensive linemen need continuity. They need reps together. They need trust. The Browns have given them none of that. And as if roster turbulence wasn't enough, the Browns found themselves on the receiving end of a jab from one of the league's most respected and sharp-tongued figures, Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin. After the Steelers held Cleveland to just 9 points in a tough divisional matchup, Tomlin couldn't resist taking a subtle, yet pointed, shot at Browns general manager Andrew Berry. The jab wasn't about the game itself, but about a front office decision that's been raising eyebrows across the league: the trade of Joe Flacco to a divisional rival. Tomlin, never one to miss a chance to make a statement, said after the win, "Andrew Berry must be a lot smarter than me or us, because it doesn't make sense to me to trade a quarterback that you think enough of to make your opening day starter to a division opponent that's hurting in that area. But that's just my personal feelings." It was classic Tomlin, cool, calculated, and cutting. Beneath the surface, it was more than just a playful dig. It was an indictment of Cleveland's front office strategy, one that seems to be operating without a clear sense of direction. Because, let's be honest, Tomlin's got a point. The Browns' handling of the quarterback position has been, to put it kindly, chaotic. They traded for Kenny Pickett earlier in the year, genuinely believing he could be their long-term solution. Then, when things got rough and injuries started to pile up, they turned around and shipped him off before he could fully recover or regain his rhythm. It's like the Browns are playing quarterback roulette, constantly spinning the wheel and hoping it lands on something stable. Meanwhile, they drafted not one, but 2 rookie quarterbacks this year, sending a confusing message about their long-term plan, if there even is one. In the latest loss to the Steelers, rookie Dillon Gabriel was forced to throw 52 passes. 52. And what did that get them? 9 points and a stat line that makes you wince, roughly 4.3 yards per attempt. That's not a game plan. That's desperation. And while it's easy to pile on a rookie for those numbers, this isn't on Gabriel. He's doing what's asked of him. He's showing toughness, but he's being thrown into a chaotic system that's not setting him up for success. The play calling lacks identity. The offensive line can't protect consistently, and the constant rotation of personnel makes it impossible to build momentum. At the center of all this stands Andrew Berry, the Browns' general manager, a man whose decisions have increasingly come under scrutiny. Berry's a smart executive, no doubt, with a strong reputation around the league for analytics-driven roster management and long-term planning. But even the most numbers-savvy GMs can lose the plot when trying to juggle too many moving parts. And right now, the Browns' roster construction feels like a puzzle with too many mismatched pieces. Trading away Joe Flacco, who, yes, had been struggling, to a division rival desperate for quarterback help made little football sense. It's the kind of move that might look clever on a spreadsheet but collapses under the weight of real-world competition. Flacco wasn't lighting up the stat sheet, and it's true that his best days are behind him. But there's value in veteran leadership, especially on a team trying to steady itself amid turbulence. Sometimes, having a seasoned presence in the locker room matters just as much as what happens on the field. Now, instead of being that stabilizing presence, Flacco might be the guy who helps a divisional rival stay in playoff contention, all thanks to a trade that seemed unnecessary and, frankly, avoidable. Mike Tomlin's comment wasn't just about one transaction, it was about philosophy. The Steelers, under his leadership, have always prided themselves on stability, on identity, on knowing who they are. The Browns, by contrast, continue to look like a team searching for itself, changing course with every setback. One week, they're rebuilding. The next, they're competing. The next, they're hitting the reset button again. It's a cycle that's left fans frustrated and players unsure of their roles. And it's not just the quarterbacks. Across the roster, the Browns' decision-making has been puzzling. The offensive line, once their backbone, is now a question mark. The wide receiver core lacks a true top threat. The defense, though talented, has been inconsistent. And then there's the coaching, a staff caught between trying to develop young talent and trying to win now, with neither approach fully taking hold. It's the kind of organizational tension that can sink a season before it ever really gets going. What makes all this even more painful for Browns fans is that this team has had flashes of genuine promise. When the defense clicks, it looks elite. When the offensive line holds up, the running game can dominate. When the quarterbacks are given time, you can see the outlines of a dangerous offense. But none of those elements have aligned consistently. Every time it feels like the Browns might be turning a corner, something else falls apart. Whether it's an injury, a roster move, or a baffling coaching decision, there's always something dragging them back into the same old frustration. And that's what makes Tomlin's jab sting so much, because it's not just banter. It's a mirror. It reflects the difference between how the Steelers and Browns operate. The Steelers stay steady, weather storms, and build around a clear identity. The Browns, meanwhile, keep reinventing themselves mid-season, never allowing the foundation to solidify. When your rival's coach is publicly questioning your front office's logic, and he's got a track record of success to back it up, that's not just talk. That's a warning sign. The question now is where Cleveland goes from here. Cutting Thayer Munford might free up a roster spot, but it doesn't fix the core issue. This team lacks cohesion. If Andrew Berry and the front office want to turn things around, they need to stop trying to outsmart everyone and start focusing on building consistency. That means committing to a quarterback, stabilizing the offensive line, and trusting the process instead of resetting it every month. Because right now, it feels like every move they make just deepens the uncertainty. For the fans, this season is teetering on the edge of frustration and fatigue. They've seen this movie before. The promising off-seasons, the bold trades, the big talk, followed by the same uneven performances and questionable decisions. The Browns don't just need wins, they need direction. And maybe, just maybe, hearing it from a rival like Mike Tomlin will light a fire under this organization to finally take a hard look in the mirror and figure out who they want to be. Until then, the cycle continues. More roster moves, more headlines, more debates. Thayer Munford's exit is just another line in a season-long story of churn and uncertainty. And while the Browns shuffle their deck again, their rivals in Pittsburgh are laughing all the way to another divisional win, with their head coach tossing out truth bombs disguised as jokes. Sometimes, in football, the harshest critiques come from the scoreboard. And right now, the Browns' biggest opponent might not be across the field, it might be themselves. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. The Cleveland Browns, a team that has long carried the weight of high expectations and dramatic headlines, suddenly find themselves embroiled in a storm that could redefine the trajectory of their season, and perhaps even the culture of the franchise itself. At the center of this maelstrom is none other than Myles Garrett, the defensive powerhouse who has been the face of Cleveland's defensive line for years. Known for his explosive athleticism, uncanny ability to disrupt offenses, and a presence that commands both respect and fear, Garrett has now dropped a bombshell that has sent shockwaves throughout the NFL community. In a candid interview that has all insiders talking, Garrett openly declared that he would no longer play alongside Deshaun Watson, the highly scrutinized quarterback whose arrival in Cleveland was supposed to signal a new era of hope and stability. The statement, brimming with tension and unmistakable finality, did more than just raise eyebrows. It sparked a full-blown frenzy across locker rooms, social media, and sports media outlets alike. According to Garrett, the decision is not a matter of strategy or performance. It is a reflection of a deeper, more insidious issue: the fracturing of team chemistry and the outright disdain felt toward Watson by his teammates. While injuries, game plans, and coaching decisions often dominate headlines, nothing resonates quite like a star player openly expressing personal and professional rejection of another star teammate. Sources suggest that the sentiment Garrett voiced is far from isolated. Whispers from within the Browns' locker room indicate that a significant portion of the roster harbors strong, negative feelings about Watson. The quarterback, who arrived with high expectations and a multi-year, multi-million-dollar contract, has struggled to fully integrate into the locker room culture, with some players reportedly questioning his commitment, attitude, and approach to leadership. What was initially framed as a calculated risk by management, a high-profile acquisition designed to elevate the team, has now turned into a source of internal turmoil that threatens to overshadow the Browns' on-field ambitions. Fans and analysts alike are dissecting every word Garrett has said, parsing tone and implication, and trying to forecast the ripple effects of his declaration. The fact that a player of Garrett's stature would speak so openly about personal conflicts within the team is both extraordinary and unprecedented in modern professional football. Typically, locker room disputes are managed quietly, filtered through agents, coaches, or carefully worded statements. Public confrontations, especially of this magnitude, are rare, as they can disrupt cohesion, invite media scrutiny, and, more importantly, undermine the collective effort needed to compete at the highest level. Garrett's candidness, therefore, signals not just personal frustration, but a warning shot. The Browns' locker room is a volatile environment, one in which unresolved grievances could metastasize into a broader crisis if left unchecked. Observers have noted that Garrett's comments also reflect a larger trend in the NFL, where superstar athletes wield influence not only on the field, but in shaping narratives and organizational direction. In many ways, Garrett's refusal to play with Watson is a stark assertion of personal authority, a statement that the team's culture and chemistry are not negotiable, even in the face of management's big-money acquisitions. The ramifications for the Browns could be profound. A rift between a premier defensive player and the franchise quarterback jeopardizes the team's cohesion in every aspect, from game day execution to locker room morale. Coaches face the unenviable task of mediating conflicts that are no longer hidden and of balancing personalities whose stakes extend far beyond tactical considerations. Meanwhile, Watson, who had hoped to revitalize his career and earn the support of both teammates and fans, now faces a daunting challenge: winning over a locker room that, according to Garrett, views him with skepticism and, in some cases, outright hostility. Rumors abound regarding what this could mean for Cleveland's season. Will management step in to attempt a reconciliation, or could this conflict accelerate trade talks or roster changes? Industry insiders speculate that Garrett's statement might not just be an expression of frustration. It could be a strategic maneuver designed to force action from the front office. Given the financial and reputational stakes involved, the Browns' leadership is now under immense pressure to address a situation that has escalated from whispers to full-blown public crisis. Moreover, the timing is particularly precarious. With the season well underway, every game is a delicate balance of opportunity and risk, and a fractured locker room can quickly transform potential victories into disappointing losses. Analysts point to past examples across the NFL where discord between key players has derailed promising campaigns, sometimes leading to coaching changes, trades, or a reevaluation of team priorities. Cleveland, it seems, now finds itself on a similar precipice. The story has also ignited a fierce debate among fans, commentators, and former players. Social media platforms are awash with speculation, support, and criticism. Some fans laud Garrett's honesty, arguing that a player willing to speak truth to power embodies leadership and integrity. Others, however, express concern that public disputes of this nature erode confidence, distract from the team's performance, and project instability to opponents. The debate is further fueled by the enigmatic nature of Deshaun Watson's tenure in Cleveland. While his talent is undeniable, reports of miscommunication, tension, and friction with teammates have shadowed his every move, making Garrett's comments seem both shocking and, to some, inevitable. In the high-stakes environment of the NFL, where public perception can influence contract negotiations, endorsement deals, and team dynamics, every utterance carries weight, and Garrett's words could set off a chain reaction that reshapes the Browns' trajectory for years to come. Beyond the immediate fallout, the story speaks to the broader challenges of building team unity in modern professional sports. Cleveland's predicament illustrates how success is contingent not only on individual talent, but on interpersonal harmony, mutual respect, and shared goals. A team can boast all-pro talent, multi-million-dollar contracts, and cutting-edge training facilities, yet remain vulnerable to the corrosive effects of internal conflict. Garrett's revelation shines a spotlight on the delicate balance between star power and collective cohesion. It underscores a reality often overlooked by fans and commentators. Locker room chemistry is as vital as playbooks and statistics. Without alignment behind the scenes, even the most talented rosters can crumble under pressure as personal disagreements spill over into performance and morale. In sum, Myles Garrett's declaration that he will no longer play alongside Deshaun Watson is not just a headline. It is a symptom of a larger crisis within the Cleveland Browns. The franchise faces a critical juncture. Will they be able to reconcile internal conflicts, restore trust, and unify around a common goal? Or will this schism mark the beginning of a season defined by division and unmet expectations? The stakes are immense, the drama is real, and the world is. Watching as one of the NFL's most talented defensive players challenges the status quo, igniting conversations that will dominate sports discourse for weeks, if not months. As the Browns navigate this turbulent period, every move, statement, and decision will be scrutinized, with fans, analysts, and rival teams all eager to see how this saga unfolds. One thing is certain. In Cleveland, the rumble is no longer confined to the field. It has erupted into the very heart of the locker room, where alliances, loyalties, and respect will be tested like never before, and the outcome remains uncertain. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!